It's safe to say that Ash has a lot of friends. Over his many years on the anime, he made lifelong friendships with both Pokemon and trainers. But it's only natural that on his path he made many ops along the way. Now, these aren't mutually exclusive, as most of his rivals would eventually become friends with him, or they were friends the entire time. In this video, we'll be ranking all of Ash's rivals in the Pokemon anime from worst to best. What actually classifies a rival to Ash? Well, that could be entirely subjective, so I picked 25 trainers that were there to push Ash to become stronger, but they had to appear for multiple episodes or directly interact with Ash across more than a single episode. Sorry, not sorry, Tobias. I won't be alone for this video, as I managed to get another complete historian to work on this with me.
Yo, what is good, guys? It is Thunder, and yes, we are going to be figuring out who is the best rival that Ash has had, because he's had a lot of them, and some of them have been pretty ass, I won't lie. But when his rivalries are good, they are great, because they are some of the most talked about things in the entire series to this day, and it really was so difficult deciding which one was the best, but me and Luop hopefully made the ultimate list.
For this list, we both made our own 25 rivals list and then averaged the two of them together to make this ultimate and definitive list. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because it's free, and I'll even give you a Master Ball. But without further ado, let's see which rival is considered the absolute worst. Let's start off this list with someone who barely even classifies as a rival, Trevor. When it comes to being a rival to Ash, Trevor didn't even battle him once, but he was friends with Tierno and they had a few interactions throughout the XY saga, most notably in the summer camp arc. Trevor had the potential to be somewhat important, but much like his game counterpart, he doesn't deliver at all. At least he was there when Fletchlander evolved into Talonflame, right?
And speaking of potential, the person we have in 24th place is Rinto. This is more of a recent rival introduced in Pokemon Journeys and has a pretty badass Gallade. Rinto was a part of the World Coordination series, and him and Ash did fight a few times and actually had a few cool matches, but there wasn't really that development for us to rank him any higher than this, since he just didn't really get that much screen time.
I always liked Nando as a character so much. Even though I don't care for his aesthetic, he does something that I would totally do, and that's be both a trainer and a coordinator. How sick was it that this man was juggling two different side quests at the same time and placed highly in both regional tournaments? This guy was an absolute beast. Nando was such a cool standalone character, but realistically outside of the battle they had in the Lily of the Valley conference, he didn't have much of a rivalry with Ash, and he was just a friendly face to be seen. Don't get me wrong, I love him, but he just wasn't a strong rival to Ash.
Virgil is the next trainer on this list, and if we were basing this entire thing off of how cool their team was, this would be someone in the top 5, since I am a sucker for a full evolution team. Virgil's team is literally called Team Eevee, and it's pretty powerful since he did manage to end up winning the Unova League. The one problem is with his entire character is that he never really interacted with Ash. They didn't battle at all, so it's hard to rank him as a rival, since that's a pretty important part, and I feel like if the Unova season went another direction, maybe they could have had a really epic showdown.
How is How ranked so low? And honestly, it's just due to the lack of screen time. He showed up a few times to battle Ash. I would say How and Decidueye are more rivals to Rowlet than they are to Ash. They battled 3 times, and all 3 times is one-on-one with their Alolan Grass starters. How got robbed in the Monalo conference, which is such a bittersweet way to end their rivalry. Overall, How is far from being a bad rival, but when compared with other rivals that just had a better narrative and screen time with Ash, it's hard not to have him so low on this list. Well, at least Ash was able to battle him in the regional conference, unlike...
Raihan is next, and as a concept, he's actually really cool. He's one of the final gym leaders in the Galar region and can seriously give Ash a run for his money, literally being the last trainer Ash had to fight before the Masters 8. But the one thing is with this whole character is that I felt that he was more of a stepping stone for Lucario to prove that he's locked in for the tournament, and less of a fierce rivalry between Raihan and Ash, which is why he's ranked this low. Which leads us towards our next rival that people kind of hate on a bit.
The Dance Man is back in action. No, it doesn't shock me that Tierno makes his way to the 19th place. Tierno was at least an interesting rival who actually did battle with Ash quite a few times. Ash even tried adopting his dancing battle strategy at one point, and Tierno actually ended up making it to the top 8 of the Lumiose conference. He even did it without a Mega Pokemon or an equivalent like Ash Greninja. Who knows, maybe we were robbed of Tierno Blastoise. The thing is, yeah, he's kinda strong, but he just didn't make for a good rival to Ash specifically. They only battled a couple of times and Ash never lost to him. But hey, Tierno is cool, but he's certainly not as cool as...
our 18th pick, which is Conway, and at first glance he does look kind of nerdy and not that cool, but he has a bit of aura. He was a decent rival during the Sinnoh arc, and his team was well diverse, to be honest. A Slowbro, Aggron, Heracross, Shuckle. This is a trainer who deserved to make it to the Sinnoh League tournament, and it showed. He's one of the few trainers in the Pokemon anime I've seen use the move Trick Room effectively to gain an advantage, but then again, he isn't that high because Dawn finds him creepy, and if Dawn has a problem with him, then we have a problem with him.
Tyson, the man who took an overconfident Ash Ketchum from Hoenn and humbled him, defeated him, and won the Hoenn League. It was the first time that we saw someone that we knew actually winning a regional league, and he honestly deserved it. He was a good-hearted trainer with a love for his Pokemon, and even mirrored Ash that his main Pokemon was an unevolved Pokemon from the Kanto region. And of course, it's even further mirrored because Pikachu and Meowth have mirrored Pokédex numbers. He even had Thunderbolt and Iron Tail too. I think Tyson helped Ash mature a bit, because after this league he truly did mature during the Battle Frontier and the Sinnoh region, which was a vast difference compared to his early adventures in the Hoenn region. Tyson had a lot of patience, unlike
Barry, who is our 16th place, and this guy is not patient. He's actually full of energy, and I actually loved his dialogue in the Pokemon games as well. Just always being this expressive ball of energy, and it translated well within the anime. Even though Barry was never really as strong as Ash and was more living in the shadow of the rivalry between Ash and Paul, he was always just a good vibe to have around, and I personally enjoy his team a lot. It is just unfortunate they all became victims of Paul in the Sinnoh League tournament.
Cameron. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I personally don't hate Cameron. In a space where almost every video or PokeOTD I post about this guy gets infinite hate comments, I actually don't hate him at all. In fact, I think he was a decent rival. He kinda mirrored Kanto Ash in that he was a newbie and got lucky time and time again, with it of course culminating in his victory over Ash with only 5 Pokemon, which earned him a higher spot in the conference and the hate of the internet forever. My guy should have just conceded, honestly. Cameron and Ash had lots of bonding moments, and there were many times where Ash took the veteran spot, guiding him to get his 8th badge and just giving him good advice. I think Cameron pushed Ash's character forward in a positive direction despite robbing him from going further in the Virtuous Conference and not battling Virgil.
I'm gonna let the Cameron pick slide since I don't know how he made it that far up, but the next rival is Morrison, and he is kind of forgettable in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a character that appeared a decent amount during the Hoenn arc, it just wasn't that impactful to me personally. He did have a pretty cool fight with Ash during the Hoenn League, but I don't think anyone for a moment thought Ash was going to lose this battle, and he definitely did not. He defeated Morrison and moved on to the next round, but the fact that Ash has a rival that made it this far in the tournament makes him deserve this spot on the list.
Here we have Steven. Every time I make that joke I get so many comments saying that I'm saying it wrong, and listen, I know it's Esteban, I'm not stupid. Stefan was a recurring rival in the Black and White series that was actually extremely formidable. He wasn't the main rival, but honestly he kinda should have been. He had lots of interactions with Ash and friends throughout the Black and White anime, and he even helped Scraggy with Focus Blast. He won a club tournament, he had a close battle with Ash in the League arc, he was just overall a cool guy. I feel like he's one of the rare series rivals that wasn't antagonistic, that was just done basically perfectly. The only thing that they could have done to make him better was giving him just a bit more screen time.
A rival that got a decent amount of screen time though was Bianca. She didn't battle Ash all that much, but we did see her progression throughout this series with her Pignite and eventually becoming an Emboar. Granted, she wasn't Ash's main Unova rival, which is why she isn't ranked extremely high, but I did like her personality and Emboar a lot.
No, I didn't have any biases having Harrison so highly on this list. Okay, maybe I did. Harrison was the Blaziken guy that Ash lost in the Silver Conference in Johto. He introduced the world to the Fire Chicken, and he was just a cool dude. He captured the Sneasel that was giving the local area trouble, quietly made his way to the top 8, and defeated Ash. He was also given anti-plot armor because he's the only character in the history of the show that had their Pokemon hurt so badly it couldn't compete in the next battle. We've seen Pokemon almost die, and they're good in 5 minutes. Harrison also prevented Ash from getting disqualified from the tournament, and introduced him to the Hoenn region, continuing his journey. He was even voiced by Wayne Grayson, who voices Joey, and yes, that's a positive point. His only downside was that he only appeared in like 7 episodes and was the focus on 4 of them. So yeah, had he been introduced earlier, I'm sure he would have been even better.
Karina is an awesome rival, especially in Ash's Kalos' journey. She's the fighting type gym leader, and just like in the game, she's a good segue into teaching the cast about Mega Evolution. Karina's Lucario also gave us one of the most brutal scenes in the Pokemon anime, with this Pokemon going feral, trying to basically kill Pikachu. But in the end, we do get to see Karina's growth over time and mastering Mega Evolution. She also made many appearances in Pokemon Journeys, having a Lucario versus Lucario match with Ash, adding further development to Ash's future team, which I really love and really proves why Karina deserves her spot on the list. But the next trainer spot may be a bit controversial.
Trip comes in hot at number 9, and this might be one of the more controversial ones. Trip was Ash's main rival in the Black and White anime, who had very ill feelings towards him all throughout. Trip always saw Ash as inferior, and he kinda had a point, so Trip won most of the battles they had, infamously defeating Ash's Pikachu with a Snivy he acquired mere minutes before the battle. Go ahead and check out this video I made last month with an elite trainer to see the other battles that we chose. Their rivalry ended in one of the most anticlimactic ways imaginable. Like most major rivals of Ash, he gets to face him in the league conference. However, it was just a one-on-one. As luck had it, Ash got pitted against Trip in the first round. It was revenge time for Pikachu as Trip was using his superior. Ash won the battle, and the rivalry ended there. Trip was a good antagonistic character that was vastly different from Ash, but I truly believe he pushed Ash to become a better trainer in the Unova region, and all of his appearances were entertaining.
Richie comes up next, and some people may think this is a little high, but he definitely served his purpose for the earlier seasons in the Pokemon anime. It may be a bit of Kanto bias, but I felt like Richie opened up the possibility of Ash having a lot more rivals, and him and Ash even fought in the final round Ash battled in the Indigo League. And even though it was BS that Ash lost to him due to his Charizard throwing, Richie still gets the win overall, and he was pretty humble about it. They did have an ongoing feud in future seasons, but they kind of forgot about this character. He had a small appearance in Pokemon Journeys, but I kind of wish they had a more conclusive end to his story arc, kind of like the next trainer on this list.
Sawyer was a fun idea for a rival. Unlike most of the rivals on this list, Sawyer was never antagonistic towards Ash whatsoever. In fact, he took a Kohai role to him. You probably know the word senpai. Well, Kohai is the opposite. Sawyer looked up to Ash and was always behind him. He took notes on his battles, learned from their encounters, and grew to be a great trainer. Hell, you can even argue he has more potential than Ash, seeing as they reached near the same level by the Lumiose conference. Despite Sawyer starting way later than Ash, having less experience, and starting collecting badges rather late into X and Y too, Sawyer was kind, mature, and a great battler. It would have been fun to get more development for Sawyer outside of battles, or even get to see him have more moments that didn't involve Ash if we don't count the Tierno battle. Sawyer was a very solid rival to Ash.
Kiawe was definitely peak. He was one of the more serious rivals in the Alola seasons, and you could just tell from his design and his more brotherly rivalry with Ash, which I really love since we had a lot of aggressive rivals in the past. Also, anytime Kiawe used the Z move, the animation looked amazing. It does kind of suck that they didn't get some crazy final battle in the Alola League against Ash, but Kiawe definitely did a lot through the course of the Alola season.
At number 5, we have a trainer that was Ash's final hurdle to winning his first ever championship. Gladion. Aren't you Gladion he's here? Gladion had a ton of character development, more than most on this list, and that really does a lot for his character. Not only is he a competent trainer that was giving Ash a tough time in battle, he was also a good friend to him too. They both worked as Ultra Guardians, capturing the Ultra Beasts around the Alola region. They both entered in a battle royale together. Throughout the series, we clearly see Gladion enjoying Ash's presence more and more, and that culminates in their final battle in the Manalo Conference. On top of this, his Lycanroc also served as a rival for Ash's Lycanroc.
Everyone knew Leon was going to be here on the list. This guy is like the final boss of the Pokemon anime and in Ash's story so far. He's renowned as the strongest trainer around and has a really sick Charizard, and was Ash's final battle in the Masters 8. One of Ash's main goals was just defeating this guy, and he did manage to do it, and the animation for once in Pokemon Journeys looked really crazy. And considering this is the final big rivalry battle in the Pokemon anime, it's very memorable in all of our brains.
Gary, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. One of the absolute GOATs of all time. Not even rivals, he's just genuinely one of the best characters in the entirety of the Pokemon franchise, and to me, he's one of the icons of the early 2000s anime. Gary was the perfect rival for Ash for Kanto and Johto. He was his childhood friend that was always one step ahead of him, at least in Kanto. For crying out loud, he had 10 badges. Gary was kind of a douche in Kanto, always tantalizing Ash and treating him like garbage. Then he got humbled by losing before Ash in the Indigo Plateau. Then in Johto, they finally got their first real official battle where Ash was able to come out on top despite the type disadvantage. After this battle, they became close friends and they're now on friendly terms, with Gary instead becoming a rival to go in Pokemon Journeys. The biggest thing that takes it away for Gary is how few episodes he surprisingly was in. Like in Kanto and Johto, he only appeared in a handful of episodes outside of the League arc, despite all of his appearances being top notch. Gary was a wonderful trainer who was played by a wonderful voice actor. Rest in peace, James Carter Cathcart. May you rest in peace. Thank you for the wonderful memories.
Ash's second best rival has to go to Alain, and this guy is just so cool. When he was first introduced, he had a really great mysterious vibe, and the more we got to know him and see his really badass Mega Charizard X, everyone grew to love him. We also can't forget Ash vs. Alain gave us some of the best fights in the Pokemon anime. People still talk about it to this day with Ash Greninja versus Mega Charizard X, and it is pretty unfortunate that Ash lost this battle, and it sucks even more that Ash and Alain did not get to have a fight in the Masters 8 tournament and have their rematch. This was a pretty big missed opportunity, and I feel like if they had a more conclusive end to their rivalry, Alain could even be ranked higher, but there is seriously no greater rival than the person in first place.
And finally, at number 1, we have Luap spelled backwards. Paul was just that guy. He was the complete antithesis of Ash in the Sinnoh region, where Ash went with friendship, Paul went with power. Ash went with patience, Paul went with repetition. They were polar opposites who, as magnets do, they just somehow couldn't avoid each other. They battled on many occasions, with Paul winning most of their bouts, well, all of them except their league battle. They had the sharing of Infernape, with Ash getting passed down the torch, or the monkey in this case. They worked together in the tag team tournament. They had so many moments together, with them even seeing each other's battles on occasion. Paul appeared in a good amount of times in the DP saga, and they were always legendary. He even returned in the Journeys anime to help train Ash for his Masters 8 appearance. Paul was such a fantastic rival without a wasted ounce of screen time. He is the perfect rival in our opinion. Those were our rivals ranked from worst to best. What do you think? Was there any rival that we missed? Let us know your favorite rival in the comments below. Make sure to check out Zolt's channel as he posts amazing Pokemon content as well. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. But for now, I've got a rival to catch, so I'll smell you later. Peace.